So hello everyone. Welcome to our very first webinar, which is called Discover Minebook. So just before we proceed, I want to double check if the sound is okay and if everyone can see my screen. So if someone can write something in the chat um, or just to double check that the sound is okay. And we'll give a bit more time so some people can join in. I will just wait 1 minute or two so some more people can join in, and then we'll start. Okay. So again, welcome to our very first webinar, which is called the Discover Mindbook. So today, the goal of the webinar is to introduce everyone and show you what Mindbook is. This is not an in-depth demo of what the tool can do, but it's more or less to give you a good overview of what it can do and what it can give to your mining organization. What are the benefits? So just before we go on, I want to address some housekeeping. So first, this webinar is being recorded. So you will receive an email, the recording via email after the session. The webinar will also be available on YouTube. All attendees are in a listen-only mode, but you can feel free to leave your question in the question box if you're watching on Zoom or in the chat if you are watching in YouTube. We will answer all your questions at the end of the presentation. So without further ado, let's talk about myself. So I'm Jonathan, I'm today's speaker. I am the co-founder and the chief technology officer at Minebook. So I'm from Canada, Quebec, so you probably can hear my French accent. I've studied the mining engineering, and I've worked in some mine sites, mostly as a mine planner. So you can reach me at jonathan.bouchard@minebook.com. So a bit of storytelling to try to expose to you why Minebook is important, where it comes from. So I started a few years ago, I would say more than 10 years ago, in a mine called Eleanor in northern Quebec. And I've worked for 8 years for Gold Corp as a mine planner. I've done some long-term, short-term, and mid-term plan. And throughout my experience, I realized how powerful the scheduling tools are for planning, but also how hard it is to, from a schedule, provide clear directions to people and really realize a plan. And this is what led us a few years ago to start our own company and our own project, which is Mindbook. We now have a client and we have an official reseller, ProMine. So we are really happy to be with them. They have an experienced team and clients. So the importance of providing clear directions. This is the first assumption I want to make starting the webinar is providing clear direction to all of your teams increases the operational efficiency. So it might sound obvious, but it's always good to remember the idea to organize ourselves and to be very well structured is to be more efficient. So it leads me to compare a schedule and clear directions. So if you do a good schedule, a Gantt chart, this is an image of a Gantt chart. This is very, very powerful. I mean, I've done Gantt chart for like 8 years. I really love them. They're very, very cool planning tool, but they are not sufficient to provide people with clear directions. So if I look at that in the morning and I'm working in geology, I'm working on production, I'm working as a surveyor, what is it? What should I do this morning? If I just look at that, doesn't really tell me anything. There's too much stuff. It's so hard to read, and it's hard also to communicate where we are. So the best tool we have for planning, which are Gantt charts, or it could be also just an Excel spreadsheet. It's not very a tool that is very powerful to communicate direction. So if you want your plan to be realized, if you want to succeed, your budget, you have somehow to translate those information into a format that's more suitable, it's more easier to understand. And this is why we created Minebook. So what Minebook is, it's an integrated work management platform that is built for mining teams. So Minebook can do a lot of stuff from task management to scheduling to project management, reports. It can manage stockpile, a lot of stuff. But the main idea is to connect everyone from a mine site to a same platform in order for them to share their work where they are according to the latest budget or mine plan. So if I show you a little video, you may already have seen it. So the idea with Minebook is to take your short-term schedule, you dump it into Minebook, and Minebook will expose each task to different departments. And it doesn't just expose tasks from your schedule, but you can also add details. So the idea is to convert a task that you use in a standard scheduler or a mine plan and to expose it to a department in some simple steps that are easy to follow and assign to people. And this way, people from very different departments can work together in accomplishing the mining plan. So there are three core values because Minebook is, yes, it's a powerful platform, it's a powerful tool, but the idea is we have an approach. It's a method of work that promotes main core values. We identify transparency, teamwork, and ownership as three important values that Minebook support. And we strongly believe that if we improve uh, any of those values, this will increase eventually your operational efficiency. So for example, transparency, the idea is we want to tell most people as possible what is happening in the mine site, where we are. As an employee, what am I doing? So I'm transparent, I'm not hiding things, I'm just showing that's where we are. This is a fact. How can we, now that we know where we are, how can we improve? How can I get some help? So transparency is very important. So a platform like Minebook that enable people to connect together and see at the same time where we are, it's very powerful. The second one is the teamwork. So even if you're the most dedicated employee and you want so hard to succeed, at the end of the day, there's just a little, as a single individual, you cannot make it for the mindset. Everyone has to work together to succeed. So teamwork is very, very important. And this is why we want to connect every department together because we are all linked somehow. And the last one, ownership. Ownership is very important in Minebook because tasks ultimately are done by people. And it's important, it's different from when you do your mine planning in which you just assign equipment. Equipment, there are no people. Some people are driving this equipment. They do stuff, they encounter problems. So ownership is important because it also gives people the reward of, I have done this. I'm responsible for this. So this is a very core value fundamental to Minebook. So now just let's get started with a little live. I will start Minebook on my computer. So this is a custom build made for demo. So I can choose someone and log in. This is a fake example, of course. And the idea with Minebook is you have it on your desktop, and every morning you can launch, see your dashboard, see your homepage, see what you have to do for the Mind site. So I will log in with my own account with John Doe, which is a fake account. And the idea also is to, if you're already on your computer and your name is Jonathan, well, the email will be already set as Jonathan. So I'm logging in. So this is the main hub of the platform. So if I go on top, I can see that I'm logging as John Doe on the top right, and I can see that I have one notification. So Minebook is a platform that is connecting people together, and the platform will notify you or send you messages if anything happens to your task. So being connected is important because you always are aware if something changes. This is the main homepage for John Doe. And John is currently, in that example, working on 2 tasks. So those are the tasks he's working on. So the main idea is, even if John is not comfortable navigating through other stuff in Mindbook, his ultimate goal is at least to inform people how much he has done on the task that has been assigned to him. So right now, we can see that the first task is available. It has not started working on that task. In fact, the progress is at 0%. You also have a task in progress. The task project name is there. So this is a stop, and he's doing the drilling layout. This is the task. There's another little number there that represent the due date, the difference between today and the due date. This is important because it gives an indicator of how late or how in advance we are according to the latest short-term plan. So right now I can say John Doe is late. So he has a task that is 4 days late and one that is 1 day late. So which one would you prioritize? Well, it depends, but most of the time, the tasks that are most late are very, very, very important to solve first. Sometimes you can add priorities to help John make his own choice and say to him, just start with that first one. This is a priority 1 task, for example. I'm going to click on show details. So every task in Mindbook has a property panel like this. So if I click on the second one, you can see that John has 25% done, and you can see that is 4 days late based on the latest update of November 13. So every time the planning is going to change, that number will be refreshed. So John is always aware how much late he is based on the latest short-term plan. In the details section, we can see that John is the owner of the task, but also that the task is assigned to the drill and blast team. This is important because in Mindbook, tasks have to belong to someone. This is the main thing. This is the teamwork and ownership values there. So if John, the task will still be displayed on the drill and blast team board. If John wants to work on something else, he will probably go on his team board and select another task from drill and blast. If I go a bit down here, we can see that there are priorities. We can assign priorities to tasks to help John choose which task to do first. You can also change the indicator saying the task is important, waiting for something. You can leave comment. One of the most important features, I would say, is the requirements. If John wants to complete his task, he will have first to fulfill 2 requirements. If I click on edit here, but since it's a drilling layout, when John will finish his layout, he will have some information on the layout. So the idea is you have to fill Mindbook with important information. According to the requirement there, John should provide the drill meters according to the layout and the stope total tons provided by the layout as well. So this way, as soon as the layout is done, all the other tasks are updated according to the latest information. So this might be a long-term value that were imported by the Mind Planner. And now as John, I've completed my layout. I know the real value might be 5,000, and I mark it completed. Not 500, but 5,000, for example. So this way you can enforce a good practice for every task and make sure that everyone that complete task in Mindbook made sure that they've checked the mark and they've put the minimal input values. So this is good. This is John main hub, but what about the other task? So if I go on the second tab here called task, I will display all the tasks that are currently available for the team, the Mind site. So if I can click on the drill and blast team, for example, I see my drill and blast table here. If I go under the board view, this is a simplified Kanban view that shows on the first column what is available, in progress, and completed. So the idea is to, when you've done with your task or you've started a task, to take it and just drag it as completed or in progress. If I go to production, for example, I'm going to show the upcoming task. And this is what's happening right now in production. And I have 2 tasks in drilling, 1 slot waiting to be started. So if I go under, for example, what's in the mocking section, I can see that there are 3 active stopes right now being mocked. What is going to happen if something breaks or a stope is no longer accessible? I would send my scoop to another stope. The problem is there's no other stope. So if I see the upcoming task here, even if there's no available stope yet, some are coming. So if I expand this tab, I can see what's upcoming. And this is great because you can see, okay, there's another stope. And if I click on it, it shows me, Mindbook tells me that now it's in the loading phase, just before the blast. So it's reasonable to think that this stope will be there soon enough. And if I can directly click on the loading task and ask the people that are doing the task, can you go a bit faster or something, so we can make sure that we have always an available task in each section. So in order to understand where that loading stope dependency came from, we have to go under the project tab. So the project in Mindbook basically shows are where you import your task. So these examples are for stope, but you can have project for development headings, raise, anything you want to do. So for example, if I go under that one, this is a Mindbook project. This is a stope. It's already started. So if you look at the little Gantt chart here, what it's meant to represent is prep, slot, drilling, load and blast, and stope, and later backfill. This is the main structure of my short-term plan. This is an example. It may be a bit simple, but the idea is to show how the tasks are imported from a schedule. If I expand the groups, I can see the tasks themselves. So the interpretation, the layout, the marking, the path, they have been done before. Right now, the task is in drilling. So if I go under the load and blast team, which is the production, and I see a loading that is going to happen, it's going to happen after the drilling. So the drilling has to be done in order to do the loading. It makes sense, right? So this is why we can understand that those tasks that are not ready yet, all the predecessors have not been met, are upcoming. And what's interesting with Mindbook is this is live. So some people might be working right now as we speak in the drilling task there. John Doe is in another project working on a drilling layout, as I said. If I look at the drilling task, which is clearly a production task, I can see that there are 3 entries made on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So these are real entries made by real people, operators that went on the ground and did the drilling. So if I click on the progression bar on the upper right of the drilling, I can see that tasks in Minebook are not only assigned to owner, but they can also be assigned to operators that will fulfill some that will fill some cards according to what they've done. And this will be all reported within Minebook. So in order to see those cards, I will go in under the production section. So the production section allows people, as I said, operators, to enter their work, what they have done. And this will be compiled within Minebook tasks, which are compiled within project, which can be linked to your schedule. You see the pattern here. So let's say I want to go under the add quantity per worker, and I'll go on November 3rd. So this tells me that that's what happened in my mind on November 3rd. Some people went in different areas doing some production drilling. Some went under in other areas, in other workplaces, doing some stop mucking. So the idea is, at the end of the day, they've written what they've done. So we have to input that data directly into Minebook. So you can create as many table as you want. This is fully customizable. And you can create what we call card here. If you want to input more stuff, I'm just going to click on one of those. So this is just a table that has to be filled. You can add stuff in it, and it is very simple, very customizable. So as soon as someone has done his work, he can fill those grid, and this will be reported within the task. So all that data can be displayed into kind of a big database grid. If I go under the quantity summary, I can show what has been done and in my mind. And this can be easily reported, copied, and it can even be interrogated directly into the database. So this is interesting because not only it keeps the thing that you can compile into Minebook dashboard, but it makes your data easy to organize. I was talking about dashboards. So if I click on the dashboard tab, I've done some example. I've made a dashboard that is called the weekly short-term planning dashboard. So if I click on it, this is an example, but Minebook allows you to create fully customizable dashboard based on what you want to see. There, what I wanted to see is the what's happening in my stockpile and what's happening in my main key workplaces, drilling, mucking, and backfilling. So you can display whatever you want, and it's fully customizable. And what's interesting is it's going to be always up to date with what's happening. So if we have the drilling tasks we've looked before, we see what we've done on the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th, based of what has been entered in that drilling task, based on the card, if I go there, on the card that has been filled by the operator. So everything is connected. This is very, very interesting if you want to follow something in particular, you want to share information on the screen with your coworkers and make sure that everything is always up to date. So I will continue the PowerPoint for now. So if I resume what we've done, with Minebook, what you can do, you can, first, you can clarify priorities. You can connect the department together, and you can simplify the data entry. We've seen all that already, so I will just go and show you a little bit faster what clarify priorities mean. For example, if you go under the drilling layout table there, I can see what's up for my team, what's in progress, what's upcoming, and who to speak to in order to make sure that what's upcoming don't fail. It's not forgotten. It's important. As we saw, the John Doe table, the personal table, everything that is assigned to you will be displayed on your personal table. So it's really easy for you to manage what you need to do according to the latest mining plan. connecting department. So this is an example of, let's say, a more standard planning, which only take into account tasks that are production based. So drill, blast, stow, drill, blast, stow, based. So this is usually how I used to make the planning. So I just focus on main tasks that requires equipment. That makes sense. It's okay. The thing is, since everyone's involved, as I said, how can Mindbook display those tasks to real people in order to make sure that this drill will start on the 6th? Well, it creates dashboard connected to those tasks, and those list of tasks are simplified and can be assigned to people. For example, in order to the blast to occur, the ventilation might have some auxiliary fan to move, some layout to do. Same goes from the drill and blast. They have to do the layout, and an approbation might be done as well. An example of connecting department, for example, if John from geology has a task on his own board, he has to do a geological shape, meaning based on the latest diamond drilling, he has to change the shape of the envelope. And this shape will be used by Richard. Richard is in the drill and blast team. And as soon as John finishes shape, Richard can take this shape and start working on his layout. So what's interesting with Mindbook is Richard sees that there's a layout coming. He cannot start working on it yet because the predecessor, the shape, is not done. But as soon as John completes his shape, then Richard sees a new task appearing on his own board. So we can start working on it. And not only does he see a task appearing, he also receives a notification. So you can now start working on your drilling. So you create real relation between different departments: geology, drill and blast, ground control, survey, production. Simplify data entry. So as I showed a bit earlier, Mindbook enable you to create your own grid, your own card in which your workers can summarize what they've done, where they've done it. And this will be saved as entry into Mindbook. In the example, if I add a card in stope marking, I will see something like that. An operator, what equipment did he use, when did he go there, and what he has done. Track task progress in real time. So when everything you click on Mindbook has a properties, and most of the time you click in on task. This is an example. I have a task here that is 75% completed and is owned by Jonathan. He has 3 days left to finish it. And in order to finish it, he has to fulfill the requirement of attach the layout he has done, and provide the plan done for the blast 1 and 2, for example. So everything in Mindbook is really structured in order to not lose control of what you have to do. And everything is really easy to also look at later to understand what happened. And under the field, as I said, you can compare the plan and the actual. So the plan are what you've put on your layout, and the actual is the compilation of what the operators have done in their respective area. And finally, as I said, the requirement. You can really have to fulfill the requirement to complete your task. Progress tracking and stockpile. Mindbook enables you to create a customizable dashboard that enables you to follow what you need to follow and display to your teams where we are in real time. So what are the key benefits? Why should I use Mindbook at my mine site? First, the main goal is to increase the operational efficiency, meaning that if we understand the plan better, if we know the priorities instantly when they change, if we can communicate very fast, we will be more efficient. Those areas, those workplaces will be worked more efficiently. And the second benefit is the analyze and correct operational issues through a well-structured and data environment. So Minebook is connected to a database. And as I tried to show you earlier, everything you enter is structured within the task, within the project, within fields. So instead of dealing with big Excel files that can be troublesome to maintain, you always have a database that is well structured that can be queried by Power BI, for example, and you can share data with other applications. And it always stays clean and structured. Benefits 3, deliver what is planned. So since you provide your mind plan and you update it regularly, it's easier to tell direction that are important to realize that mind plan. So inevitably, if you use Mindbook, you will be able to deliver more efficiently your mind plan. The last point is adapt quickly to unexpected events. So even if your planning is very good, all the time unexpected things happen. This happen, but you can adapt quickly if you communicate the information quickly. So if you see on your board that you can work on something else in between, and if that task is assigned that is not working is assigned directly to someone else, you can quickly adapt to unexpected events. So you become more efficient. So this would be the end of the main presentation. So if you have any question, I can look at the Q&A section and answer them. So I have a question. So yes, it is a software. It is installed on the local area of your mine site. If you have a physical server, you can install Minebook, and you need a SQL connection, and you can start working together. You can also email me if you have any other question, and if you're interested in a demo or anything else, we can provide more information there. So in order to have you will receive, I can go on the next slide. You can request a free demo on ProMind's website, and we'll have also next webinars, and you can also go on directly on mindbook.com to ask for a demo. So if you, Abdul, if you want to have more information, we can make a code for you and make a demo, and you will know how we provide our software. Is it okay? So the question were, why can I get the software? So basically, you contact us, and we made a demo or make a demo to you, and we can after that, if you're interested, give you a code and then install the software directly on your mine site. Great. So since if there's no other question, I will end the webinar there. So thank you very much for your listening, and stay tuned for everything that is upcoming. So we will have more webinar on more maybe a specific use case. We also have a French webinar that will be hosted in a few weeks. So if until next time, I would say bye and thank you for coming.